Well, hello everyone, and welcome to EllieMD's Live Educational Series. So we're so glad you're here with us as we continue our mission to educate, inspire, and empower you on your health journey. This episode is part of our Men's Health Series, where we take a deeper look at men's health, covering performance, recovery, hormones, stress, and longevity. At EllieMD, we go beyond telehealth. We're building a community grounded in education, innovation, and personalized support. This series is one more way we're equipping you with the tools, strategies, and science to help you thrive at every stage of life. Today, we're honored to welcome Dr. Serif Krkic, a chiropractor, entrepreneur, and visionary in modern regenerative medicine. Originally from Bosnia, Dr. K moved to the US in 2001, an experience that shaped his appreciation for resilience, purpose, and community. He went on to earn a degree in exercise physiology from the University of Akron before discovering his passion for chiropractic and integrative healthcare. Now, as the founder of Zay Lifestyle Collective and Cell Vitality, Dr. K leads a team that brings together medical, chiropractic, and functional practitioners to redefine modern men's health. His clinic specializes in peptide therapy, hormone optimization, and regenerative medicine, helping patients perform, recover, and live with balance and vitality. Beyond the clinic, Dr. K is a father, coach, and the creator of an unbreakable leadership camp where he mentors young men on strength, mindset, and purpose. Dr. K, what a pleasure to have you here. Hello, 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 and welcome.
Hello, guys.
So, Dr. K,
Thank you.
let's just take it off. You came back from Bhutan and you have a story to share with us. So we could start there, but why don't you tell us a little about yourself and we could get started about
Yes,
Bhutan?
absolutely. Thank you, honey, and the whole team at EllieMD. You guys are phenomenal. I do appreciate this, and I'm so grateful to have this opportunity just to share my joy and what we do day to day in our office and outside of our office. So I just recently came back from the country Bhutan. I do have a parallel career that is involving more of a leadership role, optimizing human potential with mainly the people that are in a leadership role, maybe CEO, entrepreneurs, and so forth. So I've embarked on this journey of gaining more wisdom as I always want to be the dumbest and the youngest in the group. So hopefully nobody's younger than me in this group. So I'm only 36 years old, and there's many brighter people out there that we can learn from all the time. So my quest was 10 days, and it was absolutely phenomenal. I got a chance to meet people from all over the world that came together and came to this country that has been pretty much untouched from our modern society. And I'll touch on that a little bit when it comes to men's health and how important it is to really address the mindset behind the environmental factors that are contributing to some of the things that we're seeing with low testosterone and so forth. But it was just an amazing trip. I was so grateful. Scary thing was right before we got on the airplane to hop on from Bangkok to Bhutan, our leader says, well, there's only 17 pilots that can land here in the world.
That's scary.
So
I
if you're
hope you
not a,
got one of them.
well,
Well,
yeah, it was
barely.
interesting. It was very interesting landing in the middle of the mountain, surrounded by snow-capped mountains, and then all of a sudden this airport just shows up. It was interesting. It was a little scary, but we made it.
That sounds terrifying. You're
It
brave.
was. I mean, if you've never experienced going down and side, it's something else. Um,
Mm.
yeah.
Well, you clearly got one of the 17 pilots that know how to land
Yes.
them. Oh, that's good. That's good. But let's just maybe you could give a little background about yourself, how you got involved and why you decided to become a chiropractor and just give us a little about your background and your passion, any
Yeah,
questions.
absolutely. Chiropractic was just not in my line of careers whatsoever. It's like the statistic is so true. As an adult, you'll change 12 careers in your path. And when I first went to University of Akron, I was studying to figure out the next bridge And quickly that changed my mindset. I'm like, this is not for me. So I started working in a gym industry, and I was a personal trainer. I really just fell in love with just the intricacy of the body. And I was like, you know what? Maybe I should just continue with exercise science or something. So I just changed my major early on, and then. To be honest, I wanted to run a gym. I wanted to be a fitness instructor, run a big facility. And then I'm a big snowboarder, so I've snowboarded most of my life, and I hurt my back. And to be honest, I didn't know where to go. I went to my primary care. It didn't really help me much. I was stubborn. I changed my mattress at home, and it was just accidental. I was training a wife of a chiropractor, and she said, "Sheriff, I'm not coming to you anymore until you get your back checked out." So she goes, "You got to go see my husband." And he happens to have a clinic across the street. Long story short, I went there after just several visits. It was like, holy cow, this is cool. And he only used his hands. So I was like, I'm curious, what is this all about? So I ended up actually shadowing him for several weeks. Within like a couple of weeks, I graduated from University of Akron, and secretly I applied to one school only, and I'm so grateful I did because that was where I met some of my really good friends. I applied to University in Chicago, and I got in after about a month waiting. And I told my parents, I was like, I am going to chiropractic school. And in the eyes of my parents and my grandmother, by the time I'm 22, I should be married. I should have a job. I should have kids by now. So I shook the household. You know, I come from a very traditional family, and the rest of this history. I met my wife in chiropractic school. It's more of a holistic alternative school where there's a lot of other programs like acupuncture, there is massage, there's oriental medicine and so forth. So it was very science-based school, and that's how we kind of practice now. Now we came back to Ohio because I had an opportunity to purchase a practice, and we've kind of been developing this Zeal Lifestyle Collective. This brand Zeal it means with great enthusiasm towards purpose. And I think there is a lot of health behind it, and a mindset and all the things that we're teaching here. Chiropractic is a very small portion of my practice here in office. And so now we've integrated in the peptide world, we've integrated with holistic medicine, along with this creating that bridge between the modern, Western medicine and the holistic medicine, and kind of blending it together. So we have a medical director, we have nurse practitioners, we have um, nurses. So all the things is done from here, and we do a little telehealth and so forth. But yeah, I love my job. I get to help patients from many aspects, and the functional medicine is phenomenal. That's one of my wife's specialties. So we're here. Yeah, this is my 10th year of practice. And I got still so much to learn. And peptides have kind of been integrated in my practice about 2 years ago, when they kind of showed some interest in the community. And yeah, so that's where we're at.
Oh, I love it. Thank you. And something interesting you said when you went to your retreat in Bhutan, you said that a lot of people were asking and talking about peptides. And
Yeah.
it's surprising because we think that this is only in the US, but this is taking off internationally where people are realizing the health benefits of Bhutan. Do you mind sharing about that a little bit?
Yeah, absolutely. So, I mean, I got a chance to meet some really cool people from Finland, from Canada, from Germany to Taiwan, from Israel. So we all came together in this one place. Now, there was not conversations with Bhutanese specifically about peptides, but everyone else that's kind of merged into this one place talked about everyone's, the longevity word is kept popping up. Everyone wants to live a little longer. I did get some insight that, peptides are going to definitely help us with adaptation, but they're not going to help us with our discipline whatsoever. And there's a fine distinction there on how we're kind of playing with the basic biology of human frame. But it was just really interesting to hear that, like, holy cow, people are taking NAD, taking PPC from all over the world. So it's just, and then the results that they're getting is phenomenal. And yeah, I was very pleasantly pleased to met people that already know how to talk about peptides.
That's awesome. I love that. Let's talk about the body as men get older and they age. I know preserving the ligaments and the functions of the body are really, really important. Can you talk to us about what happens to the body as we get older, and what should men start looking for and looking out for in, as they go as they pass the 30s and start going into their 40s and 50s when it comes to their body, and you know, um, how can they maintain their bodies for peak performance as they get older?
Yeah, absolutely. So, I mean, I'll throw some statistics out that some of you already may know. After the age of 30, things just do decline. I mean, with men, especially if they're exposed to environmental factors, hormone disruptors, there's many things that are toxic to men and our testosterone levels. So 1% of testosterone is reduced every single year after the age of 30. So by the time you're 50 years old, you already are 20% of depleted of your natural testosterone that you may have. Same thing goes with hormone. It's like every decade you lose about 15% of your growth hormone, which is a hormone that's going to protect everything in the body. It's going to protect the visual things that we see, our eyesight, our skin, our muscles, our cognitive abilities, and then the nervous system, the internal organs, all those things. As we age, they're going to slow down, obviously, but we are in a really cool place now with all this technology with gender medicine. We are able to kind of manipulate that a little bit and postpone some of those things that are associated with aging. But we also are very interested in the longevity, the extending the lifespan, and more of the lifespan that we want to have comfort with, not like misery and sick and just keeping you alive. So what's happening with men, especially, we do have to kind of like work so much harder. And that goes with women too, to really assess, like, okay, you go on a golf course, guys, and what do you see? It's the typical male figure is no longer the typical male figure. The muscle mass is reduced. The belly fat is increased. Some guys are conscious about their man boobs, but this is what's happening. Like, our male figure is actually changing, and it's alarming, and it's more prevalent in the United States than anywhere. I just traveled around the entire world, and I didn't see that. Like, the typical frame of a male is, we want to have that masculinity, but as we're aging, there's a lot of like resistance in the United States. There's a lot of things that we almost have to like jump to hoops just because they're out there. I mean, you step foot on the golf course, you got these pesticides and herbicides that are going to affect your testosterone levels. I mean, statistically, we're seeing a very alarming issue with testosterone. I mean, we're testing men with testosterone that are in their early 20s. I mean, 30 years ago, nobody even thought about it. Doctors, physicians never really were questioning, okay, let's check your hormones. Let's see if your hormones are off. But now it's like a must. If we see the consistent, brain fog, we're seeing unintentional weight gain. Men can't build muscle. It's really difficult to pack on some muscle. They have all these like just kind of things going on in their brain. They can't recover from workouts either. So they're busting their butts off in the gym, honey, and then they're like, I'm sore for 4 days. Or they have that crash in the afternoon. They don't know what the heck is happening. It just hits them so hard. It most likely, that's our baseline. Like, we really concentrate in our office on hormones. And then on top of hormones, we kind of stack peptides that are going to help patients, especially men, really kind of get over the hump of that decline. So hopefully I kind of briefly answered that question there, but it's important to identify some of the struggles that men are going through right now. And it's not our fault. It's just we have to work 10 times harder now.
So let's dive into that, because you're not the first doctor that's talking about. I'm seeing 16-year-old boys with testosterone levels of 60-year-old men. I mean, there's clearly something going on in our society. What is it? So you mentioned
Well,
pesticides. What else is it? There are hormone disruptors, clearly. Is it our food? Is it our water? Is it everything? Is it because women are on birth control? I've also heard that.
yeah.
What's happening to men?
Well, it's also that reciprocation with your partner. There's this magic when it happens when your pheromones and your hormones are on. I can tell you right now, one of the best experiences that I had with my wife, it wasn't in bed. It was actually delivering our baby. We had a home birth at home, and just the hug that she gave me right before, like, she actually braced and pushed. There's something magical there that happens when your hormones are very in tune with each other. You become more intimate, you become more loving, you become more I know men don't want to hear this, but women are much smarter than us. They're going to live longer, and we need to listen to our women because when a woman's hormones are off, when women's attitude is off at home, it kind of trickles down to a male very quickly. And we're actually kind of confused in a way. We're shocked because our fathers didn't teach us this. And we're like, what do we do with all of this? I think I'm getting off a tangent, but it is important to identify like plastics. That's huge. And like statins, guys. I mean, the range for cholesterol, we need cholesterol to make our hormones. So these medical doctors, and that's all they have. They may have the tools in their toolbox, and that's what it is. And it's unfortunate that they don't go through many more training. And we're seeing more training and more advances, but those are the tools that they have in their toolbox. So they're passing out this stuff like it's candy. I get a 27-year-old that has a statin drug on that's been taking. Well, that's going to stop the progression on that cascade of chemistry into production of testosterone. So now we need to address that. But we're very easily just tossing these medications out the moment something is out of their lab range, which there's another finesse behind functional lab ranges than clinical lab ranges. So, but yeah, it's there's a huge aspect of hormone disruptors out there. I mean, even studies have shown some countries in the world, they don't allow 5G, guys. That's if you sleep with your phone next to your head, throw that
Wow.
away. Like just put that aside. Like put it in your living room. If you need to talk to somebody right before you go to bed, you're already disturbing hormone balances. Like our primal hormone balance is we need to follow the natural cascade of our circadian rhythm. So before you go to bed, you got to stop the stuff that we're constantly doing in front of our eyes. And if you can just do that for 21 days, and 21 days is like the magic number, guys. So that something about that, it came up actually in Bhutan. It's if you do something repeatedly for 21 days, you actually build a habit. So it's persistency and consistency of doing something. So yeah, a lot of things are against us, guys, and we need to speak out, and we need to be like vulnerable. I think men just hide a lot of our emotion, which can actually spiral into more of a what's called a sympathetic state of a male. We're here to protect, and we're designed to that naturally. God has given us the opportunity to protect. Yes, we're stronger. We can lift more weight, but you can see, women go on testosterone, and all of a sudden, they start getting male figure type of expressions. So we're designed for that. When that is stripped away from us, we go into a sympathetic overdrive. We never actually realize that we're needing to relax. We need to absorb our nutrients. We need to recover our muscles from long workouts, and just kind of have that mindset of sometimes we get anxious about still and quietness. This is where everything will recover. That is a crucial part in male health. It is so important.
Yeah, before we talk about, because I want to touch on recovery,
Yeah.
I do want to talk about testosterone a little bit more because for men, it's, one of the most important hormones. Women need it as well. I just came back from a women's health summit, and they were just
Mhm.
we're emphasizing how important it is for women to take testosterone. It helps with cognitive health, it helps with muscle retention, it helps with sex drive and libido. It's so important for women, and we need it in small amounts, and it's pretty steady.
Mhm.
For men, I could only imagine how important it is. But what are the typical symptoms that a man sees when he's low in testosterone? And if he does not want to go on hormone replacement therapy or he doesn't want to take testosterone, are there natural ways to boost testosterone before having to seek other?
Like intervene. I mean, there's many things that we can use, such as some supplements. One of the supplements that I really love is called Tea Time. There is a combination of herbs in there that really help, and there are peptides. Peptides are huge, but some of the symptoms that men are kind of very cognizant about. It's the gaining of the weight. Somebody mentioned just a little bit ago. It's like that truncal obesity, truncal abdomen fat. Where they're just kind of like, where's my muscle? Like I'm having love handles, and they don't have a drive. They're very mentally drained. They have brain fog everywhere. You come into a room and you're like, oh gosh, honey, what did I come in here for? Or you attempt to do something physical and you just get exhausted. Like you've climbed flights of stairs and you're just like, what is going on? It's usually a pretty sudden decline. It's like men really know when there's something off, but we tend to not talk about it as much. So, yeah, the weight gain, the brain fog, the recovery time that it takes to even when you're busting your butt off in the gym, it takes so much longer. You're sore for so much longer. And then the libido, I mean, the drive. You have sometimes men express they're like, my wife is super slamming hot, and I'm just like, I don't have any drive. Like, look at my wife, and it's sad to see that because it's a natural primal instinct that we need, and unfortunately, it's stripped away because your hormones are imbalanced. But we got like growth hormone peptides, growth hormone releasing peptides like tesamorelin, ipamorelin. Those are phenomenal peptides that can increase natural testosterone levels. Just because men feel better on it, you start reducing the visceral fat, especially with tesamorelin and ipamorelin. You start gaining some of that muscle, and you're like, okay, I feel good, and you want to lift more weight, you want to lift heavy weight, and yeah, so
Oh, absolutely. So let's actually pivot to growth hormone. What is it? What is it used for in men especially, and how does it play a role into testosterone? Maybe we could talk.
yeah. So growth hormone is released from the pituitary gland. So it really works on. So when think about when we're like young and thriving. So we're adolescents and we're going through teenage years. I mean, I coach soccer here at the local Talmadge High School, and sometimes I go from seeing my guys that are freshmen and sophomore, and then in 4 months period of time, they become men. They're like, what the heck happened? So that's your natural growth hormone spikes and influxes through the night, and you grow and you replicate everything. So everything is thriving in your body. Growth hormone is your protective hormone. You need it for everything. Every cell has a receptor for it, just like we discovered like vitamin D like acts like a hormone. So these are the cells that have all these receptors on them. And if there's a receptor, there's an important function for every cell, whether it's signaling between each other cell or creating a function to downregulate a system or upregulate something. So growth hormone is your magic hormone. So once that starts declining about 15% each decade, we don't want to inject growth hormone, but we can inject back like signals, which is a peptide. So growth hormone releasing peptides like tesamorelin or ipamorelin, CJC ipamorelin, or sermorelin, those are the signals. So they're signaling the brain, they're kind of tricking the brain to release that at night. And now you have all these benefits like you did when you were a teenager.
I love that. So, can you talk about how growth hormone, what role growth hormone plays in when it comes to sustaining performance, and recovery? Can you talk
Yeah.
about, yeah, growth hormone?
So yeah, imagine fueling your car with an off gas, and you're expecting the car to run correct and go as fast as it possibly can, take off as fast as it can. Now, if you don't provide natural gas or the gas that's intended for that car, then you're not going to get the function of that car. Same thing for your body. So when growth hormone is released, it's stimulating just kind of. First of all, let's talk about homeostasis. There's always a balance there that we need when it comes to anything that we're putting in our body. So the body always tends to kind of want to go back into the most natural state it's been in. So sometimes it's a kind of like a struggle because let's say a male has been overweight for 50 pounds most of his life for 20 years. Now your body is constantly, it lives in that, and it wants to be in that 50 pounds overweight. Even when you lose that weight, it wants to go back to whatever it's been in the longest period of time. So growth hormone, if I'm not answering that, it's just a magic hormone. You need it for repair. Let's say you're working out really hard, so you're tearing muscle. You want to repair. You want hypertrophy or bigger muscle. You need those signals for actin and myosin, these little filaments that come together that get damaged, to produce that girth. So you're fueling the muscle. You're fueling growth hormone is really good to decrease inflammation in your gut, which in turn it will help you with your nervous system. Your brain will function much better. You have the more of the neuroplasticity, what we call, where the neurons are actually going to synapse much faster. And it's all related to when you exercise and when those pulses are happening, which is most likely at night with the growth hormone.
I love that. So with testosterone, it's a growth hormone releasing hormone, and the IPA is growth hormone releasing peptide. So they work synergistically to
Yeah.
um, not just help recovery, but also performance throughout the day. And thank you for explaining that. Now, when it comes to recovery, what role does BPC play? Because a lot of people love BPC and TB500. Can you touch on these peptides and the role that they play in recovery?
Yeah, BPC is like your master recovery one. I mean, so let's say you have a trauma somewhere that blood flow doesn't really get to. For instance, you have an old injury. You are maybe an athlete, strained your calf, or you had some type of injury to your Achilles. You're a runner, and all of a sudden now you're working out at the gym and you're contracting that calf. Well, what's going to happen is sometimes these fibrous tissue, the fibrin that gets deposited, and it's not allowing blood flow to pass through to that smaller area of maybe need. So BPC is really, really good at creating what's called angiogenesis. So the small little capillary beds, honey, that will almost like surround the tissue that is kind of signaling that, hey, there's trauma here. I don't know when this trauma happened, but let's repair it. So cytokines, interleukins, these are all small little signals that are actually produced when you're consuming that stuff to allow the body to kind of naturally stimulate those repair systems. And then TB500 is like TB4. Oh, that's in addition to BPC 157, that is going to work even more specific. So it's going to go down to that nitty gritty. I mentioned actin and myosin. So it's going to produce more actin when you're breaking down that tissue, whether it's muscle tissue, whether it's ligament tissue. You're always, no matter what you're doing, I'm standing here, my joints are being challenged. So there's always that aging period. It's that persistency of a little bit at a time. But when you inject these back into the body, you're actually telling the body to do the things that it did very, very effectively. And that is, as somebody mentioned something, exactly the chemical process of really the growth hormone and the testosterone. But I can assume that with confidence that there is correlation with natural physiology when growth hormone is expelled. That feeling. I mean, you can be surrounded by men that have very large amount of testosterone, and it's just that nature of being surrounded by that masculinity. You're actually internally going to produce more testosterone, which is a really interesting fact. But it's you are the representation of your 5 closest friends. I love that fact, and be careful who you spend the most of the time with. So, nothing to say about like your men spend a lot of time with whoever they want and drink beer and we go out but reflect, like look at the 5 friends that you're with. A likely chance that you're going to become very close to their body type.
So, question on growth hormone. So, Ricardo asked, and I'm sure you saw that message, what effect does growth hormone have on testosterone? So, is it a direct effect or is it an indirect effect that it has on testosterone?
I believe it has a direct effect on
Okay.
testosterone,
All right.
increasing the testosterone naturally. However, I don't think you will move whoever asked the needle too far. So there's a lot of other factors, especially if it's a younger male or if it's an older male. We're seeing in our clinic when men need testosterone replacement, we are seeing that we tried so many natural ways and the needle moves maybe 20 and they're like, I don't feel any different. So there's such a range, 250 to 1100 on blood work. I would rather have you close to 1100 than to 250. So, but every man is different. Every chemistry is different. Every person is made differently, and we all respond a little differently. I mean, heck, we had. I just have a story to share with you guys. We had a just recent male, and he was so afraid of getting a needle. I mean, he's like, Doc, I don't want any peptides. No way. We tested his testosterone. I mean, classic chubby male. very into his business, an entrepreneur. He's like, Doc, I just don't feel like a man anymore. And he had our pellet replacement done by our nurse practitioner. And all of a sudden, I mean, the whole clinic heard him. I mean, our door, like our walls are very thin in a way, but he was so afraid of needles. He was so scared to get this injection under his skin, which is small like a tic tac. If you're familiar with like pellet therapy, hormone replacement therapy, it's like a small little tic tac that gets injected, and it's good for like 4 to 6 months. But I mean, he was so dramatic. Everyone heard him. Well, guess what? Yesterday, so this was just a couple of days ago. Yesterday, he calls our nervous staff when he calls and his ID pulled up. We were like, okay, he's probably going to give us a bad review. And we were like freaking out. And one of our nurses answers and she's like, well, I have some questions for Dr. K if he's available. And I just happened to be here on my day off. And I talked to him and he goes, Doc, I have to share something with you. I don't know if this is placebo or not, but this is crazy. Doc, I woke up with a boner. And he's like, I don't know how else to tell you. I was like, I woke up with a boner for the first time in 20 years. And I was like, that is natural. If you're not waking up, guys, with a boner, that is first sign your testosterone levels are going to be off. And he's like, I have unlimited energy today. So I was just so glad to hear his like inflection in his voice, that he's happy, that he's gaining back some of the things. So yeah, if that's not there, guys, go get your testosterone checked immediately.
That's good to know.
Yeah.
The litmus test.
Or the wives are like, hey, honey,
I know.
where's this thing? It used to be here when we got married,
All
but
the
now
wives
it's
are going
not
to be
there.
checking at 5 in the morning. They're waking up early.
The guys are probably like, who is this guy talking about the boners and stuff?
I love that. Someone asked about, and this is a good topic. I guess I'm going kind of by the feedback that we're getting in the chat, so we'll follow that narrative.
Sure.
The difference between tesamorelin, let's start at the top. Tesamorelin, ipamorelin, CJC, samorelin, and then also maybe you could talk about IGF-1 if possible.
Yeah, I'm not as familiar in use for IGF-1 just because our medical director he's not very familiar with that right now. But I see it all over social media. It kind of is the same classification of insulin growth factors. So what we do want to watch is actually that on our blood tests. So I would encourage, personally, in my opinion, that we don't want to push the needle too far when it comes to growth hormone releasing peptides, because there are chances that we could be stimulating something that kind of has like a glitch in the body. So you don't want to overly stimulate like a cancerous area, you know. So like, here's the grade. So sermorelin has been around for a long time. Sermorelin is probably one of the lowest grade, like it's not going to peak the growth hormone pulses as often. And then we got like ipamorelin and CJC, which is usually combination with those two. It's kind of like the middle grade of pulsing. And then the tesamorelin, and then tesamorelin, ipamorelin together, which is synergistically going to work much better because it's giving us a larger pulse at night. Plus, it's also working if you haven't tried these growth hormone releasing peptides. Personally, I get a little agitated in a way of like it's recommended to take at night, so that way you can replicate the natural cadence of growth hormone pulses. But some men stay up at night. I personally kind of get like a burst of energy, so I've taken it in the morning. But yeah, just kind of whatever. Sermorelin, I mean, even they have lingual ones, sublingual ones, so like oral ones. You're not going to get the effects that you really want. So, and then also throwing in there that it is important to cycle on and off, so you're not. There's a finesse there. You don't want to do too much of a good thing for a long period of time, because you're kind of giving an exogenous signal, and the body is it's confused in a way, and it will rely on that for a long period of time down the road. So hopefully I answer those. So really just sermorelin is like the lowest grade, and then ipamorelin, CJC, and then the tesamorelin and ipamorelin together. Those are going to be the best ones to use.
So, as a female, I know what to expect, but for men, what can they expect if they stay on the TESA IPA protocol? 5 days on, 2 days off. Let's say they stick with it for 2 months. What are some benefits? What can they expect? Is it they burn fat, they start gaining muscle? Do they have to go to the gym and stimulate the muscles to get the muscles? I mean, let's talk all
Yeah.
about that.
So, I mean, it is a little bit of a cheat code. These are all signaling agents. So, like testosterone has been reported to really focus on fat metabolism, lipid metabolism, and it's what's happening there is it's actually particularly in the abdomen area for men and for women. So, if you've been on a GLP-1 or something and you got that like stubborn last 10 pounds, you're like, why is this not coming off? A great recommendation is to use testosterone just because it really does target the visceral fat around the abdomen cavity. And it's like, yeah, the reports, even just from social media and studies have shown us that is really, really good for that stubborn internal fat that we have. Um, and there was another follow-up question on that, honey.
Muscle. What happens to
Yeah.
our muscle? Do we have to go to the gym to stimulate the muscle?
Well,
Is,
of course. I mean, resistant training is the key, guys. I mean, there is no
this is
cheat
not just
code
an
for that.
autopilot, like put it on and then all of a sudden I'm going to get buff. Wait, what?
I
I
wish
didn't
I
know that.
wish that was the case. But you know what? Men report a lot of times it's like it's almost like an addiction. It's not because it's such a fast pace of muscle girth and you're like, okay, I'm feeling my abs a little bit. What's going on here after just several weeks, which is that quick. I mean, if you use testosterone, you can see benefits, visual benefits as short as 10 days, 14 days. But yeah, you're going to have to train the muscle. That's the only way the muscle is going to actually break up. But you're going to have that growth hormone in the back end really signaling those repair systems to be optimized.
Okay, so this is if I was going to get a little bit of muscle, this will increase the muscle mass. If I could just simplify.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
then, women are scared too. Like women are like, I don't want to be the bodybuilder look. I don't want to look like a CrossFitter. And trust me, look at there's some of these guys that are training all their life and they have to train so hard to get to that point. It takes a long time, and the testosterone is going to prevent you from looking like a man or looking like a CrossFit athlete. So it's important to lift heavy for women too. Like get some weight on you, do something that is training the muscle to fatigue between 5 to 10 reps. And not just grab like a 2.5 pound and do it for 20 times. What you're doing is you're just training for more of an endurance there and then really breaking down and getting that fiber to be repaired later.
That's awesome. I'm going to read a couple more questions while we're on this topic, and then I want to ask you about NED as we get older. Um,
Mhm.
Alex wrote, well, can't say I was expecting that. I'm assuming you're talking about the boner in the morning.
I
Ricardo,
figured I'd get your attention with that one.
I know that was good. Ricardo asked, could you clarify what peptide stack would drive the needle upward for significant increase and sustaining testosterone levels long term without using testosterone therapy? And then second part of the question, so I don't know, go ahead. Let's take that first part. So could you clarify what peptide stack would drive the needle upward for significant increase and sustaining testosterone levels long term without using testosterone? So I think you mentioned tesamorelin, ipamorelin, but is there another one that you like to?
Uh, so any classification of peptides I mean, peptides are moving. We have over 8,000 peptides, guys. They're everywhere. So it's just like you're looking at all of this stuff that is coming out. You almost have to like work an extra job to just keep up with it. But just to kind of be basic, anything in the growth hormone releasing peptide or growth hormone releasing hormone category, it's going to directly increase your testosterone. Now, that's a caveat. I would highly recommend you work with somebody that can either test testosterone levels, but once you get into the whole testosterone replacement therapy, if you can't move the needle and you're of age, that's something that you just need to talk to your doctor and just commit to that replacement therapy, bioidentical hormone replacement, which is just going to help you. Some needles move really fast. I mean, I've had patients with supplements, and there's other not ivermectin, but oh my gosh, I can't think of it right now. It's a peptide-based medication. It's kind of off-label. I apologize, but we've used it in the past that's moved the needle. But as soon as patients get off of it, they plummet again. So It
And not
test
IG. No, no.
and clomiphene, yes,
Oh, no.
yes, Ricardo, yes, and clomiphene. That's very effective if you still want to stay fertile, a young adult. And there's controversy with that too. I mean, I've read Jay Campbell's book on testosterone. He talks about getting on and off of testosterone. You can still be fertile. So there's more studies that need to be done to be very concrete on that. But if you impregnate your wife and you're on off of your testosterone replacement, you're fine. Or you're on testosterone, then you're doing your chemistry is working.
So I guess going back to Ricardo's question, I think he's wondering if you can move the needle just with peptide therapy alone without having to tap into taking
Yeah,
testosterone. Is it possible? He's
yeah,
asking. So you
absolutely.
can move the needle.
Yeah, give it a try. I mean, it depends, Ricardo. If you move the needle 200 points on your test and you feel like amazing, you don't have to compare yourself to the higher ends of it. So I've had men have no symptoms and they're in the low 400, 500. It's not optimal, but you might have symptoms down the road. So you can try. I can't promise you that that will work exactly the way it's supposed to work for everyone, for you. But tesamorelin, ipamorelin, give it a try for 5 to 6 weeks, 5 days on, 2 days off, and then retest. Easy retest every month. You can test until you see them normalized, where you feel comfortable with your testosterone.
All right, perfect. I know with women, for example, there's a little bit of water retention and feelings of being bloated. What are the
Mhm.
symptoms for men when taking growth hormone, releasing peptides and hormones?
Water retention for sure, honey. That's very common because especially if a man is very active in working out. Anytime you're working out, we do. I mean, we consume water. We want to hydrate, which is important, but the hydration is going to be shunted over into the muscle, so they may feel like not much of a striated muscle, like not that lean type of muscle, but hungry. Like you're going to feel hungry. It's because it mimics the hormone ghrelin, which makes you hungry. So some individuals have reported just like, I'm hungry. I'm eating more. So which for in that matter, maybe just make sure that you're concentrating on a very healthy diet. Make sure you're consuming enough protein. Um, None of this is going to fix your diet, guys. That's and lifestyle. This is that's one thing that a lot of people are relying on. They're like, "Oh, I'm taking all this, and I'm not seeing results." Well, you're eating Twinkies, you're eating fast food restaurant, you're continuing the same lifestyle. You're not feeding on a cellular level, and it all comes down to the cellular level. I mean, you have to feed the cell to optimize it from mitochondria, and we could talk about that with NAD and so forth. So the body is so complex. It's not one thing, and all of a sudden, all these magical things happen. It's just the support. I mean, I want to try. I want to like biohack the crap out of my body, but I can only be a certain guinea pig for so many peptides. Um, I'm kind of running out of like place where I'm putting them, and more technology is coming. I'm getting off a tangent, but I've heard iontophoresis technology where the patches and things of that nature. Those are all coming down the pipeline, and we're excited for that because a lot of people have access to it then.
Yeah, we've been testing out the Levotech with
Oh,
melanotan, and it seems to be working.
yeah.
It's
Oh,
penetrating
good.
in, and you get the full tan. But so definitely we're looking at the Levotech technology and using with peptide therapy, which will be huge because
Oh,
there's
yeah.
definitely a syringe overload. Like
Yeah.
how many syringes can you poke yourself with on a daily basis, morning and night? Um, I know with myself, and I'm sorry, I know this is a men's series and we're supposed to talk about you men, but I can only relate to the, I get a surge of energy. Brain fog goes away with Tessa IPA. Is there anything else that we should look out for? And not to repeat and beat this dead horse, but is there anything else so we could get off this topic and we'll go into NAD? Is there anything else that we can expect while on Tessa IPA?
It's almost like mimicking a testosterone. So it's like really mimicking that drive for men. It's the tension. I mean, I've had libido increase in my personal, so it's amazing to just see that the drive. You look at your wife a little differently, and she smirks back. These are all natural things, guys. When you start, and you have like one causation. You're like, oh, I just started this peptide. Maybe it is doing something. So clarity, like a burst of energy. A lot of people just like completely are like, my brain fog is gone. I mean, we've seen even symptoms such as like a long-term like wounds healing because like diabetic neuropathy, things of that nature, like where the signal, the growth hormone is not, it's not working really well. So yeah, we've seen some amazing things with growth hormones.
Yeah, it's interesting. Someone brought up acne. Is that a side effect? Because I noticed a little acne, and I never get acne, but I noticed
Mhm.
it on my shoulders. Is that because of the test? I try so many different things. I don't even know what's causing what nowadays. But does that
Well,
comment?
maybe it's not like direct correlation. It's how much toxin do you have in your body. So like the skin is always, I want you to know that it's like the last organ that the body is detoxing something. So when be careful with this. And I've had my own journey of like, we can burden ourselves with many things, whether it's a bad meal once or twice, and then all of a sudden you have this huge load on your body that the body doesn't know what to do, and it just creates acne. But most of the time, that's resolving after several cycles of that. And I don't know if you've experienced that, but yes, acne is not as common, but we've seen it.
Got it. Got it. Okay, let's transition to NAD. Happens to our NAD levels as we get older, especially as men.
Yeah, I mean, in anything with energy, to be honest, NAD. I can give you my personal reflection on NAD. It's like my brain is on steroids, and that it truly is. If you want to improve your multitasking skills, you should take NAD. If you have like 50 different things you're juggling and you don't want to drop anything, take some NAD, see what it does. On a cellular level, we do see sometimes NAD now going actually opposite of what it's intended for. So that comes down to really addressing the mitochondrial health, and there's some peptides that are going to help with that. But as we age, we break down the walls of our cells, like the membranes of our cells, and that causes a cell for damage and so forth. So NAD, it goes into the Krebs cycle. It's donating electrons and the chemistry back in the day, all of that stuff that we need it. It's our source of energy, and every cell is actually dependent on it. So it's known as the longevity, like the fountain of youth molecule, and it is truly. I think one point to make caution of is you're going to fuel every cell. So just be aware of, talk to your practitioner, give enough clinical history. Don't hide things from your practitioner that maybe wants to prescribe you that, because it's not indicated for everyone, but most people, 99% of the time, are going to qualify and be approved for NAD.
Oh, that's awesome. Thank you. Well, let's transition into a conversation the men want to talk about libido and erectile dysfunction. Can you touch on what does that mean? What happens if you, for a lack of a better term, can't get it up anymore as you're,
Yeah.
what's happening internally? What's going on? Is it a heart issue? And then let's talk about PT-141 after that.
Yeah. I mean, it's all about blood flow. When it comes down to any of these sexual dysfunctions in male and female, it's all about blood flow. As we aging, we have so many things that are going to affect like the depletion of nitric oxide. So it's the basis of understanding really how does the vessel open up and how does it close. But we have to address the issue with the male being in a sympathetic state and being in that protection state. If that male doesn't really have the ability to downregulate and self-modulate, honey, where they have the safe space, they have the comfort of, they don't have anxiety with their partner, they're not having a flutter attack if their partner touches them. So all of those things are physiologically are going to affect the performance of the penis and keeping it up. But it really is the blood flow. Um, Sympathetic overdrive is not, it's going to decrease that blood flow to the external organs. It's going to increase the external organs like muscles and so forth, but it's not going to provide that rest and digest, the reproductive, because it's primal. So if you're out hunting and gathering, you are going and trying to kill something. You're not trying to have sex with your wife at that time. So that's a perfect example. What I'm seeing with especially younger men having all these issues. It's like, okay, well, uh, do you do self-meditation? Do you do anything to like really focus on yourself first to identify if there is a stressor there that could potentially be really harming you from outside in? So from my knowledge, I love talking about nitric oxide, and there's so many supplements. I mean, beets and vitamin B complexes that come. Berkeley Life has I'm promoting that, but I love nitric oxide supplements, but testosterone too. I mean, all so many factors come into play when it comes down to. But essentially, honey, it is blood flow. If you don't get the blood flow there, sorry. PT-141 is a nasal spray that it's really convenient. It does stimulate that urgency to have sexual arousal. So somebody that doesn't have like even thoughts of having sex or even having any drive, PT-141 is like the gold standard.
So I know brelovitide, which is the compound in PT-141. That's the generic name for it, but it was FDA approved for women. However, it works in men just the same, right? Can you touch on that? Because I think a lot of people think it's for women. It's the drug for women, but
No.
reap the benefits just the same. So can you touch on?
Yeah. Yeah, guys, I mean, no shame here. If you got, you got things, 10 million things in your head, um, and that drive is not there, the intimacy, you don't look at your wife or your partner the same anymore. You can't find, like that teenage energy, like the drive. I don't know if any of you guys are hunters out there, but you know about rut and the deer and how that all physiologically plays a role, and the chasing um, the deer. But PT-141, I don't know the exact like chemistry how it works. You probably can enlighten me more, but I've personally used it, and my wife sees it being used, and it's like, okay, we don't have to do anything. It's just in case we're snuggling up for a movie, I'm ready.
You said while you're doing the chasing and looking for the kill, you're not thinking about arousal. Is that it only happens afterwards, after you bring home the kill? Is that what you're saying?
Well, yeah, yeah. I mean, I like to talk about a lot of primal things. It's important to understand, really, our modern world is constantly saying there's a fix for this, there's a fix for that. And then just looping back around, like going to Bhutan and seeing what these people are working with and what access do they have. They barely have any access to any of this stuff. And I mean, they're happy. They're very self-compassionate. They have no stress. And they don't have a problem procreating, like making babies whatsoever. So in the modern Western world, yes, we're trying to find the fix and so forth. But I do truly believe that if you are like step back a little bit and assess the standard of live, like how you live. Are you under a lot of stress? Because those primal instincts are not going to be fixed. Whatever you try, you might move the needle a little bit. You might feel good temporarily, but we always talk about in combination with lifestyle, diet, exercise. But yes, I'm realistic. Most people are not going to do that, and they're going to always rely on that pill or injection, and that's fine. But to really maximize your benefit of doing something like that, if you combine all of those things together, and it's not easy. And if I'm inviting you, I'm just throwing it out there. My invite is to do the hard things, do the hard path, because when you're comfortable in one path, even with life, I'm not here to preach, but when that comfort settles in, you're not growing, you're not expanding, you're cruising through, and this can relate to men a lot because we're kind of getting in a comfort zone, and all of a sudden weight packs on. all of the things to start packing on. And then, shoot, I met a 33-year-old guy that had a heart attack, a triple bypass. I mean, he barely stayed alive. Guys, this is your testosterone, the growth hormone, all these things are going to protect your vitality, protect your cells from all the way down to the cellular level. So don't have a heart attack at 33. His story was, yeah, doc, I eat McDonald's every single day for the last 10 years. And I'm like, okay, oh my gosh. I mean, do you do any, there's no nutrients there. You need to fuel the body. But peptides, all this stuff that I'm talking about, all the stuff that Hanieh is doing with EllieMD, these are all great, amazing additions to your lifestyle. But I urge you, I invite you, honestly, to just do the hard parts too, because then you'll be so addicted, you'll never go back to your old self.
Mm, thank you for saying that. That's really important. I appreciate you mentioning that. Um,
Mhm.
Dr. K, any last words? I know we're at time, but any last words? And if we wanted to get in touch with you, how can we reach out to you? Um, I
Well,
really
yes,
appreciate this talk. I mean, it's important what you're saying because I feel like just like with our food system and the odds have been stacked against us to begin with. I read an article that there's already microplastics. They're finding microplastics in the umbilical cord of infants
yeah,
that are being born, right? So it's like already there's hormone disruptors, and you haven't even been exposed outside of the womb. So imagine what can happen over time. And it's unfortunate what's happening with our food system, but I'm hopeful about the future. And thank you
yeah.
for shedding light on do the hard thing. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Um,
I still believe in the humankind and I still believe in the human frame. And something new that I just recently learned is that I didn't know about this is the 10 two-letter words. If it is to me, to be, it is up to me. So anything that you're doing, you are in the driver's seat. So hold on, grip that steering wheel, and dream big, do the big things, do the hard things, and let's go. I mean, humanity needs to rise up, and men need to rise up to their standards. Let's stop. Look at all this like transgenders, all this crazy stuff. That I mean, yeah, that's another story. We can go off on that. But let's men rise up and just stand in our line together and just be men. Express ourselves the way we're naturally expressed, and don't let anybody tell you that you're not a man
mhm.
or whatever.
I appreciate it. Thank you, Dr. K. Thank you. Wise words. So if we can find if you were invited here tonight on today's call, please get with whoever invited you and to talk about all the great things that Dr. K talked about. And Dr. K, where can we find you? I know you
Oh yes, I forgot. So I
phenomenal
just
social media account that we'd like to follow.
well, I just started that. I was not big into social media, but I feel like I've been called. I do have a little bit of a charisma about me, and I'm just trying to find my way. And I would love your input. So it's dr. dot my first and last name. So Serif Krkic is on my Instagram. I'm trying to find a forum that I can really spread my message on just being a father, a business owner, entrepreneur, and then that biohacker, and then a wisdom seeker. So
And if you're
and
in
or
the
my
Ohio area, go visit Dr. K, right? Where's your
Yes,
clinic?
and if you're in Ohio, well, you can go to Zeal Lifestyle Collective, ZEL Lifestyle Collective. We're located south of Cleveland. We have a beautiful clinic here with many, many, many goodies here.
Oh, well, thank you so much, Dr. K. This was
You're welcome.
fantastic. I hope you all enjoyed it as well. Thank you, thank you. And we look forward to having you back to shed more
Yeah,
light and talk about peptides and men's hormones and everything in between. Thank you so much. This is a lot of fun.
it's
And
my
thank
pleasure.
all of you for tuning in tonight and being excited to learn and educate yourself and expand your knowledge and your wisdom. I saw a lot of ladies here, which tells us something that the women are just as interested in men's related issues and health related issues. So thank you all for tuning in, both to our men and women that came on. Dr. K, thank you. This is
My
great.
pleasure.
Oh, have a beautiful evening, everyone. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Have a good night.